The courtroom held its breath the moment she walked in. Designer heels, diamond bracelets, and a smile that looked rehearsed. She flicked her hair, leaned forward, and said the one line that made the entire room turn to stone. "Do you know who I am?" Judge Judy did not blink, but the governor in the back row did, because he realized his daughter had just declared war in the wrong courtroom. What Judge Judy said next wiped that smile off the map. But before we begin, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments and hit subscribe for more shocking courtroom moments. The echo of her question, "Do you know who I am?" still trembles through the air when Judge Judy leans forward. No gavel, no raised voice, just a silence sharp enough to cut through the governor's daughter's designer confidence. The camera holds a close-up on her smirk, bright, polished, practiced, a smile meant to intimidate, not charm. Her diamond bracelets catch the courtroom lights, scattering tiny reflections across the bench as if her privilege itself wants to be seen. The governor's daughter shifts her weight, crossing her legs with deliberate elegance, as though posture alone can establish superiority. But the room does not admire her. It watches her. Judge Judy studies her quietly, fingers steepled, gaze unblinking. That stillness, that terrifying controlled stillness, says more than any outburst could. The courtroom senses it too. Even the hum of fluorescent lights seems to dim under the weight of that silence. The plaintiff stands only a few feet away, hands trembling around a stack of worn papers. A small business owner, modest shirt, cautious voice, the kind of man who has never confronted power this closely before. He clears his throat once, but cannot seem to look directly at her. Not because she frightens him, but because he still remembers the public humiliation that brought them here. Behind her, near the last row, sits the governor. Father first, official second. His polished shoes tap quietly, an uneven rhythm that betrays nerves he has not shown in years. He came to support her, to manage the fallout, maybe even to intimidate. But now, watching her arrogance collide with Judge Judy's silence, he begins to sense the storm forming. Judy finally breaks the stillness. Her voice is soft, steady. "Let us begin." No acknowledgement of the daughter's question, no reaction to the theatrics. Judy's tone makes it clear. Titles, names, and power have no jurisdiction here. She turns to the plaintiff. "Tell me why we are here." The man swallows, glancing briefly at the governor's daughter. The flash of fear in his eyes is unmistakable, the memory of being threatened in public, the echo of her voice declaring she could destroy him because of her father's influence. He describes the incident in careful detail, voice wavering but honest. As he speaks, her smile freezes, then tightens. She interrupts him once, twice, trying to reframe the story with airy dismissals, calling his complaints overreactions, misunderstandings, even a joke blown out of proportion. Judy raises one eyebrow, a movement so subtle yet so authoritative that the daughter falls silent without realizing she has obeyed. A wide shot reveals the courtroom leaning forward collectively, sensing the balance of power shift. Judy's gaze narrows, dissecting the contradictions in the daughter's tone, posture, and words. Then, with surgical calm, Judy asks the first real question of the day. A question aimed not at the story, but at the character telling it. "Before we go any further," Judy says, voice low and deliberate, "how exactly do you believe your identity matters here?" Her smile wavers, the first crack. Her smile twitches. Just once, at Judy's question. Not a full collapse, not yet, but a ripple under the surface, the first sign that her confidence has seams. The camera tightens on the governor's daughter as she inhales too quickly, trying to reset her expression. She leans back in her chair, crossing her arms in a gesture she hopes looks composed, but her jaw tightens as though holding back a harsher reply. Her bracelets clink softly, a delicate, involuntary betray of nerves. She answers with a sugary tone that coats every word. "I only meant that people often misunderstand me," she says, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "They assume the worst. I was joking that day. Everyone jokes." Her voice is steady, but her eyes flick toward her father. It is a glance filled not with affection, but calculation, a silent request for reassurance or perhaps for rescue. The governor's posture stiffens. He knows that look too well. Judge Judy does not react. She lets the silence settle again, lets the daughter sit with the weight of her own explanation. Judy's gaze shifts to the plaintiff. "Continue," she instructs. The plaintiff holds his papers closer, almost like a shield. "Your Honor," he begins, voice trembling but clearer than before. "She did not joke. She yelled at me in front of a whole store. She said she could have my business shut down, that she knew people who could make things difficult." The daughter laughs, too loud. The courtroom stares. "That is obviously exaggeration," she says, waving a dismissive hand. "People say dramatic things all the time when they are frustrated. I did not mean anything by it. Look at me. Do I look like someone who threatens people?" Judge Judy leans in, expression unreadable. "You tell me." The room stills. Even the bailiff shifts his stance, sensing the tension deepening. The daughter's cheeks flush. "I told him to relax," she insists. "He was being sensitive. If he felt uncomfortable, that is on him. I cannot control someone else's emotions." A dangerous sentence. A sentence dripping with the entitlement Judy has been watching unfold inch by inch. The plaintiff's voice gains strength. "Your Honor, I only came to his store to fix my order. I did not deserve that kind of treatment. She told me." He stops, remembers the humiliation, forces himself to continue. "She told me, loud enough for everyone to hear, people like you should be grateful I even walked in." Whispers ripple across the courtroom. The governor shuts his eyes, jaw clenched. The daughter tries to laugh again, but the sound breaks halfway through, thin, brittle, transparent. "That was sarcasm," she says, voice cracking at the edges. "People took it wrong. That is not my fault." Judge Judy taps her pen once, a sound like a warning. "So you have no documentation to support anything you are claiming?" she asks. The daughter blinks, confused. "Documentation?" Judy's gaze sharpens. "Your messages, your receipts, your statements, anything that proves your side." The daughter freezes, her confidence finally cracking. The word documentation still hangs in the air when the plaintiff steps forward. He places a thick, slightly worn folder on Judge Judy's desk, a folder the governor's daughter clearly never expected to see. A soft rustle echoes through the courtroom as the folder lands, heavier in meaning than in weight. The daughter's eyes dart to it, pupils tightening like a cornered animal sensing a trap. Her confidence wavers, a trembling vibration under her polished posture. Judge Judy lifts the top flap, revealing printed screenshots, timestamps, and messages, all neatly organized, all unmistakably real. The camera cuts to the daughter's face. The smirk is gone. "What is this?" she asks, voice too soft, too thin. "The truth," the plaintiff replies. Judge Judy gestures for him to explain. He steps closer, carefully pointing to a page near the front. "These are the messages she sent me after the incident, not just to insult me, to scare me. She said she had the power to ruin my business permanently." The daughter's lips part, but no words emerge. She swallows hard, raising her chin as though clinging to the last thread of superiority. "Those were jokes," she insists. "People use dramatic language when they are upset." Judy flips to another page. This message says, "I can make one phone call and shut you down." Does that sound like a joke? The daughter's throat tightens. She flicks a desperate glance toward her father, but he avoids her eyes. His posture sinks under a weight he cannot lift, the weight of seeing his daughter's entitlement laid out in ink. The plaintiff continues, voice steadier with each word. "Your Honor, after this message, my vendors backed out. My customers stopped coming. People whispered. They were afraid to support me." Judge Judy leans back, pen poised between her fingers. The light above casts a hard glow across the daughter's face, revealing every crack in her mask. "You caused real damage," Judy says. "Not hypothetical, not emotional only, tangible harm." The daughter exhales sharply, her breath shaking. He is exaggerating. "Enough!" Judy's voice slices through the room. Even the bailiff shifts, sensing the conversation pivot. Judy turns another page and the courtroom's energy drops into a heavy silence. This page is different. This page makes her eyebrows rise. The daughter notices instantly. "What is that? I have never seen that before." Judy does not answer right away. Instead, she studies the sheet, eyes narrowing, then widening just a fraction, the kind of reaction that signals something deeply troubling or deeply revealing. The governor sits forward, breath caught in his chest. The plaintiff clasps his hands nervously, unaware of what Judy is seeing. And the daughter, she folds her arms tight, trying to hide the tremor that has started in her shoulders. Judy lifts her gaze slowly. "Ms. Harrison," she says, voice low and deliberate, "why does this document contradict every word you just told me?" The daughter's face drains of color, the pressure finally becoming undeniable. Judge Judy lifts the sheet slowly, as if the truth itself has weight. The governor's daughter watches with a frozen smile that no longer reaches her eyes. The camera pans down to the document in Judy's hand, a printed bank transfer, dated and signed, clear, unambiguous, a payment that contradicts everything the daughter just claimed. The daughter's fingers grip the armrests of her chair, knuckles whitening. I do not recognize that," she says, each word strained like fabric being pulled too tight. Judge Judy tilts her head. "It is your name, your signature, your account number, so let us try again." Her tone isn't harsh. It is worse, calm, surgical, controlled. The governor shifts forward in his seat, but Judy raises one hand without breaking eye contact with the daughter. "Do not speak for her," she warns. He sinks back, silent, helpless. The plaintiff watches quietly, clutching his papers as though afraid the moment might disappear. There is no satisfaction on his face, only relief that someone finally hears him. Judy places the document between them. "You testified that you never paid this man, correct?" The daughter swallows. "Correct. And that you had no involvement with silencing anyone connected to this incident?" "Correct." Judy taps the page with her pen. "Then explain why you transferred $3,000 to an individual listed as Service Resolution." The courtroom goes still. The daughter's eyes dart to her father again, but he is no longer a lifeline. His face is tight, his guilt unmistakable. He knows exactly what that payment means, and the silence between them screams it louder than words ever could. The daughter exhales, trying to disguise panic as poise. I was being kind. It was a goodwill gesture. He was upset. I wanted to help." But Judy does not give her space to spin the story. "A goodwill gesture that occurred the very next day after you screamed at him?" Her voice sharpens. "A goodwill gesture labeled Service Resolution?" The daughter blinks rapidly, lashes trembling. Her voice drops to a whisper. "I did not want trouble." Judy leans back, studying her like a puzzle finally losing its illusion. "So you paid someone so there would not be trouble." A beat. That is very different from not doing anything wrong. The room breathes that truth, a collective inhalation of understanding. The first major shift in power begins here, subtle but irreversible. The daughter looks smaller now, shoulders curling inward, posture collapsing under the weight of her exposed contradiction. The governor presses his palms together, pressing them to his lips as if bracing for the impact he can no longer prevent. Judy lifts the paper one more time, holding it like evidence from a crime scene. "Who," she asks quietly, "received this money?" The daughter's lips part. No words come. Her throat tightens. Her eyes glisten with the first trace of fear, not of Judy, but of the truth she can no longer outrun. Judy leans forward, voice dropping into a blade-sharp whisper. "Tell this courtroom why you paid someone, if nothing happened." The governor's daughter inhales sharply, the kind of breath taken right before a lie or a confession. But Judge Judy's gaze leaves no room for either to escape untouched. For a moment, the room holds its breath with her. She sits rigid, shoulders squared too deliberately, as if posture alone can still convince the world she is in control. The governor watches her with the hollow stare of a man recognizing a mistake he made years ago but can no longer undo. Finally, she speaks. Her voice is low. "I paid him so it would stop." Judy raises an eyebrow. "So what would stop?" The daughter hesitates, eyes flickering toward the plaintiff like she expects him to rescue her from her own narrative. But he stands firm, his hands no longer trembling. For the first time today, he feels the courtroom leaning toward him, not away. She exhales shakily. He was upset. He sent messages. He made everything dramatic. I thought if I compensated him, he would calm down. The plaintiff lifts his head, disbelief tightening his features. Your Honor, I did not ask for money. She offered it, and when I refused, she increased it. Judge Judy turns to the daughter. Is that true? Silence. Not the confident silence she used earlier, but a suffocating one, the kind where truth presses against the walls, begging for air. She finally murmurs, I wanted it to go away. Judy does not soften. Things that go away usually have a reason to stay. The camera pans slowly across the courtroom, faces stiff, eyes narrowed, minds connecting dots the daughter never wanted connected. Her polished public persona begins to peel back, revealing something more fragile and far less flattering. The plaintiff continues with a steady, quiet voice. Your Honor, after she threatened me in front of all those people, I went home shaken. I did not know how to respond. She did. She sent message after message telling me she could fix it, or make it worse. The daughter flinches, as if each word hits a bruise she hoped no one could see. And when I still refused the money, he says, she told me she had ways to make people disappear from the marketplace. A stunned murmur ripples through the courtroom. Judge Judy's expression drops into the stern calm she reserves for the worst kinds of arrogance. You attempted to buy silence, she says. No, the daughter cries, voice cracking. I tried to fix a misunderstanding. Judy cuts her off. Misunderstandings do not require hush payments, Ms. Harrison. They require honesty. The daughter blinks rapidly, as if fighting tears or rage. You are twisting it, she whispers. Everyone always twists my actions. Judy folds her hands. Then show us your truth. A tremor runs down the daughter's arms. For the first time, she seems terrified of what her own truth looks like out loud. The plaintiff clears his throat. Your Honor, there is more. Someone recorded part of the incident. The daughter's entire body stiffens. All color drains from her face. Judge Judy's gaze sharpens like a blade. There is a video? The daughter's breath catches, because she knows exactly what that video shows. The courtroom dims as the clerk walks toward the bench with a small silver laptop, its screen already glowing like an exposed secret. The governor's daughter goes utterly still, like prey, sensing the shadow of something that could finally catch her. The clerk places the laptop gently before Judge Judy, who adjusts her glasses with slow, deliberate precision. Let us see what actually happened, she says, her tone carrying the quiet finality of a locked door. The daughter's nails dig into her palms. Her mind races faster than her breathing. She knows exactly what was recorded. She knows exactly what she said. And she knows this courtroom will not forgive it. The screen flickers to life. A grainy cell phone angle shows a bustling boutique, sunlight spilling across racks of clothes. The plaintiff stands by the counter, calm but visibly frustrated as he tries to explain an issue with his order. Then she enters the frame. Her designer bag swings at her side like a prop, her posture tall, aggressive, radiating privilege. Even in low resolution, her confidence is unmistakable and sharp enough to cut. The courtroom watches in silence. Are you seriously wasting my time with this? She snaps in the video, her voice louder than necessary. The boutique customers turn. Do you know who I am? Several gasps flutter across the courtroom. The real tone of her question, the contempt, the entitlement, the unrestrained superiority, is unmistakable in the recording. Her father closes his eyes. On screen, the plaintiff tries to respond calmly. Ma'am, I'm just explaining. No, she interrupts, stepping closer, finger pointed like a weapon. You are going to fix this, now. And if you don't, I will make sure your business never sees daylight again. The camera catches customers shifting uncomfortably, witnesses to an arrogance that filled the room like smoke. In the present courtroom, the daughter looks smaller with every passing second. Judge Judy does not look away from the screen. She watches with stillness so sharp it becomes judgment itself. Then the worst part hits. On screen she laughs, a cruel, gleaming sound. People like you should be grateful I even walked in here. My father could snap his fingers and end your whole little operation. The boutique falls silent. The courtroom becomes a mirror of that silence. The video cuts abruptly, leaving the last words hanging like a noose. The daughter's face softens into something hollow. Not remorse, fear. The fear of seeing yourself from the outside and realizing the world sees exactly what you hoped they never would. Judge Judy turns the laptop around slowly, closing the lid with a soft click that echoes louder than the video itself. She studies the daughter, eyes narrowing just enough to announce a shift in power, so complete the room feels it like a temperature drop. That, Judy says, was not sarcasm, that was abuse. The plaintiff swallows hard, gratitude and exhaustion mingling in his expression. The daughter whispers, "It was, taken out of context." Judy raises one eyebrow. "Be very careful with your next words." The judge taps the laptop with her fingertip. "Because that wasn't even the worst part of the footage." The daughter's breath stops, because she knows exactly what is coming next. The last frame of the video still seems to shimmer in the silence when Judge Judy lifts her eyes. The governor's daughter looks shattered, her confidence reduced to shards she cannot gather fast enough. Judge Judy folds her hands. The stillness is suffocating. "Ms. Harrison," she says calmly, "the footage speaks for itself. What exactly do you believe was taken out of context?" The daughter opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. Panic flashes across her face, then embarrassment, raw, jagged, and unfamiliar. She glances at her father again, but this time the look is not for reassurance. It is for rescue. And the governor finally breaks. He pushes himself up from the bench, voice tight and trembling. "Your Honor, if I may..." "You may not." Judy does not raise her voice. She does not need to. Her eyes pin him in place. "Sit down. You are not on trial here. Your daughter is." The governor freezes halfway to standing, then sinks back down as if gravity suddenly doubled around him. His palms flatten against his knees, his chest rises and falls too quickly. The daughter watches this, watches the one person she always assumed would shield her, and something fragile inside her buckles. "I was stressed," she finally blurts. "He was making a big deal out of nothing. The store was crowded. I felt overwhelmed." Judge Judy cuts her off with a slow shake of her head. People do not threaten to end someone's business because they are overwhelmed. That is not stress, that is power abused. The plaintiff, still gripping the edge of the desk, looks at the daughter with an expression somewhere between relief and heartbreak. He had hoped she would see the truth before it came to this. His shoulders lower, finally allowed to breathe without the weight of intimidation pressing on him. The daughter tries again, desperation threading through her words. "I have never done anything like that before." Judy leans back slightly, studying her. The lights above seem harsher now, exposing every crack in her facade. "You expect me to believe this was an isolated incident?" Her silence answers for her. The governor's knees bounce nervously, his fingers rub together, restless, unsteady. He knows what comes next. He knows because he has lived his life cleaning up the aftermath of his daughter's entitlement. But this courtroom is not another private crisis. This is public. This is recorded. This is real. Judy lifts a new set of papers from her desk, papers no one has yet seen. Her voice turns razor sharp. Anonymous submissions were sent to this court before the hearing. The daughter's head snaps up. "What? By who?" Judy does not respond. She does not need to. The power dynamic has reversed so completely that even the air feels heavier. The governor's breath stutters. He presses a hand to his forehead, dread curling through every line of his posture. He already knows these papers will not save her. They will expose her. Judy taps the unseen documents once. "Multiple individuals came forward," she says, "and their statements paint a very different picture of you, Ms. Harrison." Judge Judy reaches beneath the bench and lifts a sealed cream envelope. Thin, ordinary, but dangerous in the way a quiet truth always is. The daughter's breath stumbles. Even the governor's posture locks in place. Judy lays the envelope on the bench with deliberate care, as if placing down a verdict before it is spoken. "This," she says, tapping the flap, "arrived this morning." The daughter shakes her head instantly. "Anonymous letters? That is not real evidence. Sit." Judy's single command lands with the weight of a gavel. The daughter obeys before realizing she has done so. Her father exhales a shaky breath, fingers clasped together like he is praying to a future he knows will not come. Judy slides the envelope open. The sound is soft but devastating, like the tearing of a final excuse. She pulls out several folded pages, handwritten statements, each marked with a different name at the bottom. "These are from individuals who claim you used your father's position to intimidate or silence them," Judy explains. Color drains from the daughter's cheeks. No, that is ridiculous. Who would even—" "The first statement," Judy continues, ignoring her interruption, "comes from a young woman who worked under you at a charity gala." A ripple moves through the courtroom. The governor's shoulders slump. Judy reads, "She alleges you threatened to have her fired because she disagreed with you about an event vendor." Judy lowers the page. "Is that true?" The daughter stammers, I was joking. People always twist." Judy lifts another paper. "This one is from a local musician. He says you told him you could make sure he never performed in this town again if he did not play your preferred playlist." A strangled gasp escapes the daughter's throat. That was years ago." "And this one," Judy says, raising a third sheet, "is from a boutique employee who says you threw clothing on the floor and told her the staff should be honored to pick up after you." The gallery murmurs. The bailiff steps forward slightly, ready to restore order. The governor presses his fingertips against his eyes, as if blocking out the fragments of a truth he has denied too long. His voice is barely audible when he whispers, "Oh, Emily." The daughter hears him. Her face crumples, not into guilt yet, but into fear. Fear of being seen, fear of losing the identity she hid behind. She tries to rise, shaking her head violently. "These people hate me. They are jealous. They are lying." Judge Judy does not flinch. Multiple individuals, separate incidents, spanning years, and all of them describe the same behavior. The room grows colder, the fluorescent lights stark and unforgiving. The daughter looks around, searching for an ally, but finds only faces, reflecting truths she cannot outrun. Then Judy picks up the final sheet. Her eyes scan it. Her expression shifts, subtle but unmistakable, a tightening around the jaw, a narrowing of focus. "This one," she says, voice lower, "is different." The daughter freezes. The governor lifts his head slowly, dread hollowing his features. "It is from someone you once considered close," Judy continues. The daughter's lips part. No, she wouldn't." Judy places the page down with solemn precision. "It is signed by your former best friend." The daughter's entire world cracks, because she knows what that friend witnessed. Judge Judy lifts the final statement, and the governor's daughter instantly folds in on herself, like her body recognizes the handwriting before her eyes do. The room leans in, sensing the emotional blow before it lands. The page trembles faintly in Judy's hand, not because she is shaken, but because the truth written on it hits differently, raw, personal, unfiltered. "Ms. Harrison," Judy begins, "this testimony is from someone who claims to have known you for over a decade, someone who worked beside you and covered for you." The daughter's whisper cracks. "She promised," but Judy is already reading. The friend's words spill across the courtroom in a voice imagined through ink. "I stayed quiet for years because I loved her, but loving her meant protecting people from her too." A collective hush forms. Even the air feels heavier. The daughter's breathing quickens. Fear enters her expression like a spreading shadow. Fear not of the court, but of the mirror her friend has finally held up. Judy continues. "She uses her father's influence like a weapon, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, but always intentionally." The governor flinches as though struck. His daughter squeezes her eyes shut, trying to block the words that only grow louder in her mind. I watched her threaten employees, vendors, strangers. I excused it because she told me she would change, but she never did. A soft gasp escapes the gallery. The daughter's voice shakes. She is lying. She was jealous. She always wanted. Judy lifts a hand, silencing her. Her eyes remain fixed on the letter. The boutique incident didn't surprise me. It broke me, because it was never going to stop. She would hurt more people. She would hide behind her father. She would laugh about the damage. The daughter covers her mouth, shoulders trembling. Tears well, not the manipulative kind she has used in the past, but the kind that come from hearing the truth spoken by someone who once knew your heart. Judy lowers the page slowly. What she described, Judy says, is a pattern, a continuous, escalating pattern. The governor's jaw tightens. He cannot defend this, not anymore. His eyes glisten with guilt, decades of enabling her arrogance crashing into a single brutal moment of clarity. The plaintiff watches quietly, the hurt in his posture softening into something like understanding. He does not revel in her collapse, he simply witnesses it. The daughter whispers, barely audible, "She was supposed to be my friend." Judy responds with a softness so controlled it stings. Real friends do not let you become someone who harms others. The daughter's composure dissolves. Her mascara smudges. Her breathing fractures. For the first time, she looks like someone meeting the truth of herself, unfiltered, unshielded, undeniable. And then, in a voice shaking from the core, she confesses the piece she never intended to reveal. She covered for me before. Something that happened years ago. Something worse. The courtroom freezes. Judge Judy leans forward, eyes narrowing. What exactly did she cover for, Ms. Harrison? The daughter's lips tremble, because answering means the whole room will finally know who she has been all along. The courtroom leans forward as if the entire room inhales at once. Judge Judy's question hangs in the air, sharp, suspended, and unavoidable. The governor's daughter stares at her trembling hands as though the truth is trapped somewhere between her fingers. She tries to swallow, but the motion sticks in her throat. The room waits. Even the fluorescent lights seem to buzz more quietly, unsure of what is about to be revealed. Judy's voice cuts through the tension with clean precision. Ms. Harrison, what did your friend cover for? A beat. Another. And then her voice breaks on the simplest word she has ever said. Me. The governor stiffens. He does not breathe. His eyes, wide, haunted, lock on his daughter, waiting for an explanation he fears he already knows. She finally lifts her gaze. Her mascara is smeared, her lips trembling. It was a party, years ago, before any of this. Judge Judy nods once, silently urging her to continue. I got into an argument, she whispers, with a server. He said something rude. I said something worse. Her voice fractures. I told him my father could get him blacklisted from every venue in the county. A ripple of discomfort passes through the room. Her voice grows thinner, weaker. He reported me, and the story started spreading. People online, they talked. They called me entitled. They called me dangerous. The governor lowers his head, hands covering his mouth as though shielding himself from the memory. So my friend stepped in, the daughter continues. She told people it was a misunderstanding. She lied for me. And when that was not enough, she pauses. Her breath trembles. I went to my father. Judge Judy's eyebrow lifts, not with surprise, but with the calm recognition of a truth she has suspected all along. And what did he do? Judy asks. The daughter's voice softens into something childlike, fragile. He called the venue owner. He called the event manager. He made it disappear. The governor's eyes close, not in denial, in guilt so old it finally found the light. The daughter wipes her cheeks with shaking fingers. I told myself that if the world hated me, I could just outrun it, outtalk it, outpower it. And my friend, she believed me at first. But after the boutique, after the way I spoke to him, She nods toward the plaintiff. She could not lie for me anymore. Judge Judy lets the silence stretch, giving the truth time to breathe, to settle, to sting. Then she speaks, her tone steady, but edged with a deeper judgment. So you learned you could avoid consequences, Judy says. You were taught it. The daughter's eyes flick to her father. He looks back at her with a sorrow that bends him inward. I thought I was protecting her, he whispers, but the daughter shakes her head. No, you were protecting the version of me you wanted to see, not the version I became. A chill settles across the courtroom. Judge Judy turns her gaze to the governor, sharp, precise, unwavering. Did you hide that incident for her as well? The question hits him like a verdict, and the entire room waits for his answer. Judge Judy's question slices the air clean open. Did you hide that incident for her as well? The governor's hands tremble, just once, before he forces them still in his lap. The camera shifts to him, the public figure, the respected leader, the man who built a career on integrity, now sitting under the weight of a truth he cannot outrun. His chest rises in a shaky breath. His daughter watches him with wide, terrified eyes, desperate for him to say no, to deny everything, to save her again. But he doesn't. Instead, he lowers his gaze to the polished courtroom floor, almost as if searching for the moment he lost control of the child he once guided. The silence around him thickens, charged with years of unspoken decisions made in back rooms and phone calls whispered after midnight. Finally, he answers. Yes, Your Honor, he says, voice hollow. I made calls. I smoothed it over. I thought it was just one mistake. Judge Judy's expression doesn't soften. It deepens. Was it the first time you intervened? She asks. A pause. A painful, telling pause. No, he admits. The daughter's breath shatters. She grips the edge of the defendant's desk as if the wood will hold her together. Dad, she whispers, voice breaking, stop. But he can't, not anymore. The truth once damned now flows freely, unstoppable. I told myself she was young, he continues, that she would grow out of it, that protecting her from consequences would help her become better. His voice trembles. But I see now. All I taught her was that consequences don't exist. The daughter closes her eyes, as if his words strike deeper than any accusation she has faced today. Judy leans forward, tone firm, but not cruel. You believed you were shielding her, but you were shaping her. Tears slip down the governor's face, quiet, unannounced, unhidden. He doesn't wipe them away. He doesn't care who sees. For years, he has stood behind podiums, cameras capturing his every expression. But never like this. The daughter whispers, I didn't ask you to do that. Her father turns to her, eyes agonized. You didn't have to. The moment I chose to step in the first time, I set this all in motion. The gallery watches, breathless. The plaintiff lowers his eyes, unable to look at the unraveling of a family. Even the bailiff shifts uncomfortably, sensing he is witnessing something far more personal than a small claims dispute. Judge Judy lets the truth settle, an emotional debris cloud hanging over father and daughter alike. Then, with controlled gravity, she asks the question that triggers the deepest fracture of all. If you hadn't saved her back then, would any of this have happened today? The governor crumples inward. His face collapses into grief. Old grief, new grief. A realization sharp enough to wound. The daughter looks at him through blurred eyes, searching for the father she thought she knew, and finding instead the man who finally sees her, not the version he edited. The daughter whispers, Dad, was I always like this? His answer, soft, broken, becomes the emotional blade that reshapes everything. I think I helped you become this. The governor's words linger in the silence like smoke. I think I helped you become this. For the first time, the daughter doesn't argue. She doesn't posture. She simply breaks. She sinks back into her chair, her shoulders folding inward as though her body can no longer hold the weight of the courtroom's truth. A soft, strangled sound escapes her. A sob, quickly smothered, but not quickly enough to hide. The arrogance that once filled the room like perfume evaporates, leaving behind a hollow, trembling figure. Judge Judy watches her with a rare stillness. Not pity, not anger. Something quieter, something closer to understanding. The kind reserved for people who have finally reached the end of the facade. "Ms. Harrison," Judy says, her tone no longer cutting. "Look at me." The daughter lifts her face. Her mascara is smeared, her eyes red, her breath uneven. She looks young in a way she never allowed herself to before. Young and lost. "You spent years building walls out of privilege," Judy continues. "But walls built on entitlement always collapse, and when they do it on top of the person who built them." The daughter's lower lip trembles. "I didn't know how else to be." A painful honesty. The kind that reveals not villainy, but damage. Her father hears this, really hears it, and the grief in his posture deepens. He reaches out as if to comfort her, but his hand stops halfway, suspended in the space between them. He is unsure if he has earned the right to offer comfort, or if she will even accept it. The plaintiff shifts uneasily. His anger has softened into something more complicated. Sadness, maybe. Disappointment. A recognition of the human unraveling before him. The daughter wipes her face with the back of her hand. "I hurt people," she whispers. "I didn't even think about it. I just reacted, like it was normal." "Because it was normal to you," Judy replies gently. "That is the tragedy." The daughter nods, a shaky exhale leaving her as if she's been holding it for years. "I don't want to be like this anymore." The gallery watches, hushed, the transformation visible in real time. This isn't manipulation. This isn't performance. This is the moment a person meets the truth of their reflection for the first time. Judge Judy leans forward, elbows on the bench. "You cannot change the past," she says. "But the way you face it now will determine who you become next." The daughter closes her eyes, letting the words settle. When she opens them again, they hold something new, not strength, not confidence, but willingness. She turns toward the plaintiff. Her voice is raw, bare, human. "I'm sorry," she whispers, "not because I got caught, but because I finally understand what I did to you. To everyone." The plaintiff nods, emotion tightening his throat. He doesn't forgive her, not yet, but he acknowledges the apology with a quiet sincerity. The daughter looks back at the judge. What do I do now?" Judy studies her for a long, weighty moment. "That depends," she says softly. "Are you ready to hear what accountability actually requires?" The daughter nods through trembling breath, because she knows the hardest part is still ahead. Judge Judy holds her gaze steady, the kind of silence that doesn't punish, but demands truth. The daughter's breath trembles, caught somewhere between hope and dread. Judy rests her elbows on the bench, fingers interlaced, posture firm yet strangely gentle. The courtroom seems to lean closer, sensing the shift from confrontation to transformation. "Ms. Harrison," Judy begins, "consequences are not cruelty, they are clarity. Without them, no lesson holds." The daughter nods, slowly, as if absorbing each word like a weight placed carefully in her hands. Her father watches her with a mixture of heartbreak and responsibility. The familiar impulse to defend her rises in his chest, but for once, he doesn't act on it. He understands that rescuing her now would only return her to the very cage he built. Judy continues, her voice even. "Before we determine what comes next, I need to know if you truly understand the impact of your behavior, not the excuses, the consequences." The daughter inhales shakily. "I humiliated him," she says, glancing toward the plaintiff. "I made him feel small. I abused whatever power I thought I had." The plaintiff swallows, emotion flickering in his eyes. Not triumph, not vindication, but something quieter. Recognition. Humanity. "You didn't just hurt him," Judy adds. "You created fear in the people around you, fear that your presence meant danger, that your words meant ruin." The daughter's voice breaks. "I didn't see it. I never looked past myself." Exactly, Judy says. And that is why today matters. The atmosphere shifts, less tense, more reflective. The gallery watches not a villain, but a person facing herself without filters for the first time. Judy leans forward. Apologizing is not enough, and paying damages while necessary is only the beginning. What do you believe justice looks like for the people you hurt? The daughter wipes her eyes. I want to make it right, she says. Not just with him, with anyone I've harmed. Words, Judy replies softly, are the easiest part. What action follows them? There is a long pause. Then the daughter answers with a clarity that surprises even her father. I want to face everything I ran from. Publicly, if I have to. I want people to know I was wrong, no excuses, no hiding behind him. The governor exhales, a heavy emotional release, shame and pride tangled. The plaintiff steps forward slightly, voice cautious but sincere. Your Honor, I don't want to ruin her life. I just wanted her to see me, to see what she did. For the first time, she does. Her eyes meet his without flinching, without superiority, without armor. I see you, she whispers, and I'm sorry. A silence falls, deep, resonant, human. Judge Judy nods slowly, satisfied not with perfection, but with the beginning of responsibility. She straightens her posture, ready to deliver the next step. We are moving toward a remedy, she says, one that matches both accountability and opportunity for change. The daughter braces herself. Judy turns to the plaintiff, her tone shifting with decisive weight. Tell this courtroom, she says, what justice means to you. The daughter's heart pounds, because the answer will decide her fate. The courtroom falls silent as all eyes shift to the plaintiff. For the first time, he isn't the one shrinking under someone else's power. He is the one asked to define what justice looks like. He takes a slow breath, shoulders lifting, then lowering with the weight of memories he never wanted to carry. His hands tremble, not with fear, but with the gravity of being given a voice after months of feeling voiceless. I'm not here to destroy her, he says quietly. I never was. The daughter looks up, startled. Her breath catches as she listens, really listens, to the man she once belittled. Her father leans forward as well, the brittle tension in his posture softening. I run a small shop, the plaintiff continues. I work long hours. I built it from nothing, and when she walked in that day, she made me feel like nothing. The daughter flinches, guilt pouring across her expression like ink spreading through water. He continues, voice soft but clear. I watched customers leave because they were afraid of crossing someone powerful. I watched contracts fall through. I watched my reputation get shaken by a rumor whispered by one person who never thought about the consequences. The governor closes his eyes as if each word pulls another thread free from the fabric of his denial. I don't want revenge, the plaintiff says. Revenge just repeats the cycle. I want acknowledgement. I want accountability. I want to know she understands what she did. The daughter's voice is barely a whisper. I do. Judy holds up a hand, gentle but firm. You may speak when he finishes. The plaintiff nods gratefully and continues. I want restitution for the losses I suffered, not extra, not punitive, just enough to put my business back where it was before she stepped inside. His voice tightens with emotion. And I want her to apologize publicly, because she humiliated me publicly. Those words hit the daughter deeper than any accusation so far, not because they shame her, but because they show her what real humility looks like. He finishes softly. Justice, to me, means she understands her power isn't a weapon. It's a responsibility she hasn't earned yet. A ripple of emotion moves across the courtroom. The daughter presses her hands to her chest, breath shaking, absorbing every word like they're the first honest truths she's heard about herself in years. Judge Judy nods, a thoughtful and fair request. The daughter inhales deeply, preparing herself, not to defend, not to project strength, but to finally accept what comes next. Judy turns toward her, eyes steady. Ms. Harrison, you heard him. Are you prepared to face these consequences? Her voice trembles, but her answer carries a newfound steadiness. "Yes, Your Honor," she says. "I am." Judge Judy straightens, verdict forming in her gaze. "Then here is what this court will require from you." The entire room holds its breath. Before we move into the final verdict, what do you believe justice looks like here? Should consequences heal, punish, or teach? Let me know your thoughts. Judge Judy exhales softly, the kind of breath she releases only when the truth has settled into the room like dust, finding its rightful place. The governor's daughter waits, still, small, ready. Judy folds her hands atop the bench, her gaze steady but no longer razor-edged. Where earlier there was fire, now there is measured gravity, justice tempered with humanity. "Ms. Harrison," she begins, "you have caused real harm, not imagined, not exaggerated, real. Your words carried weight far beyond your understanding, and you used them carelessly." The daughter nods, eyes glistening but unflinching. "But," Judy continues, "today you did something far more difficult than defending yourself. You listened, you heard, and for the first time you recognized the power you misused." Her father lowers his head, relief and sorrow mingling. Judy turns to the plaintiff. "Your request was fair, thoughtful, and proportional. This court honors it." The daughter inhales shakily, bracing herself for the concrete consequences. "First," Judy says, voice firm, "you will repay the plaintiff the full amount of his losses. Every dollar he can document will be restored." The daughter nods. "Yes, Your Honor." "Second," Judy continues, "you will issue a public apology, written, signed, and posted where your actions were witnessed, not to save face, to take responsibility." Her breath trembles, but her voice does not fall apart. "Yes, Your Honor." Judy's tone deepens. "Third, a formal report of this incident will be forwarded to the Governor's Ethics Board, not as punishment, as accountability. Power, Ms. Harrison, must always be transparent." A rush of whispers slips through the gallery. The governor closes his eyes, not in protest, but in acceptance. He nods once, slow and solemn. "And finally," Judy says, softening, "you will complete a conflict resolution and community service program, not as a sentence, as a chance." The daughter blinks, surprised. "A chance?" Judy leans forward, voice warm but unwavering. "You cannot change the world you grew up in, but you can choose the person you become next, and that choice begins the moment you leave this courtroom." The daughter covers her mouth, overwhelmed, not with shame this time, but with relief. A clean slate, not an escape, a beginning. She turns to the plaintiff. "I'll make this right," she whispers. "I promise." He nods, a small, earnest smile forming. "That's all I wanted." Judge Judy gives one final, decisive nod. This matter is resolved. The gavel strikes, sharp, final, echoing through the room like a door closing, and another opening. The governor places a hand on his daughter's shoulder. She doesn't shrink from it, nor depend on it. She simply accepts it, an acknowledgement between two people learning, painfully, to let go of old patterns. As they walk out together, their silhouettes overlap, a father no longer shielding, a daughter no longer hiding. The courtroom empties slowly, but something stays behind, an aftertaste of truth, accountability, and something resembling hope. Arrogance collapses under truth. Power without humility crumbles. But accountability, honest human accountability, is the only foundation strong enough to rebuild a life.